Right, let me ask you something. If you could go back to 2005 and buy a flat in Salford, before Media City, before the BBC turned up, before prices doubled, would you do it? Of course you would. Everyone would. At least, I would. The problem is, nobody rings a bell when a town's about to take off. The locals are still moaning about it, the papers are still slagging it off, and the house prices are still stuck in the past, while behind the scenes, billions of pounds are quietly pouring in. That's exactly what's happening right now in these towns across Britain, and in this video, I'm going to show you where the money's going before the crowd works it out. A resurrected airport, a Hollywood film studio, submarine contracts worth billions, a railway reopened after 60 years, all in places where the average house still costs less than a London box room. I'll give you the real prices, the real projects, and, because this is UK Uncovered, the honest downsides too. Stick around for number 1. It's getting a film studio, a brand new city centre, and thousands of jobs and houses that still cost less than a parking space in Mayfair. Grab a brew, let's follow the money. Starting with a town most Scousers would tell you to swerve, Bootle on Merseyside. The average house here goes for about 140 grand, but here's the headline: prices jumped 11% last year, one of the fastest rises of any coastal town in Britain. When somewhere this cheap moves that fast, something's going on. What's going on is a spillover. Liverpool prices have run hard, buyers are getting pushed north along the Mersey, and Bootle's next in line. 20 minutes into town on the Merseyrail, a canal-side regeneration of the Strand underway, and solid Victorian terraces for less than a southeast deposit. If you want somewhere specific to start, look at the L20 streets between Marsh Lane Station and the canal. That's where the early money is landing. I'll be straight with you. The first time I walked through Bootle, I wasn't sold. It took a second look to see what the money's seeing. The honest bit, it's still rough in parts, the town centre needs years of graft, and you're buying the trajectory, not the finished article. The catalyst? Liverpool spillover plus the Strand. The window? Closing fast. 11% a year doesn't hang about. Next takes me to Scotland, to the town the forecasters have just crowned, Motherwell. Homes here go for a touch under £130,000, yet Zoopla's number crunchers have pegged Motherwell for the strongest house price growth in the entire UK this year. Not Edinburgh, not Manchester, Motherwell. Why? The oldest reason in the book is affordability plus connectivity. Glasgow's 15 to 20 minutes by train. Glasgow prices have gone through the roof, and Lanarkshire is where Glaswegian buyers land when they finally do the maths. The streets around the station and the Dalzell estate side are the ones the commuter money reaches first. If you're from Motherwell, get in the comments and tell me if I've got this right. You know the place better than any forecaster does. The honest bit. This is a post-steel town, and it looks like one. Ravens Creek, once Europe's biggest steelworks, has been regenerating for 20 years, and it's still not done. You're buying the commute, not the postcard. The catalyst? Glasgow overspill plus the best growth forecast in the UK. The window? This is the forecast year. It's now or never. In at number 8, 6 towns in a trench coat pretending to be one city, Stoke-on-Trent. You'll pay around £150,000 for an average house here, in a city of 250,000 people, 90 minutes from London by train. That combination shouldn't exist in 2026, and the market's starting to twig. The money's real. The goods yard, right next to the station, is a canal-side quarter of flats and bars that's the best thing built in Stoke for 50 years. The Etruscan square plans up in Hanley, and remote workers discovering that 150 grand buys an actual house, garden and all. Smart buyers are looking at Penkhull and Hartshill, village feels streets, 10 minutes from the station. Honestly, the goods yard surprised me. I went in expecting a car park and came out planning a second visit. The honest bit, Stoke's got 6 town centres and can barely afford one. Hanley's on the up, a couple of the others are on life support. The gap between Trentham and Tunstall is a chasm. Pick carefully. The catalyst? The goods yard plus London commutable prices at a 70% discount. The window? 2 to 3 years. Stoke moves slowly, and that's the opportunity. This town is one ferry ride from a city everyone loves, at half the price. Birkenhead. Houses here average just shy of £145,000. Across the Mersey, Liverpool's waterfront and a market that's already boomed. In between, WIRRAL Waters, one of the largest regeneration projects in the country, a multi-billion-pound 30-year transformation of the old Docklands into a new waterfront city, with thousands of homes already going up. And Birkenhead's no slouch on its own. Hamilton Square has more Grade 1 listed buildings than anywhere in England outside Trafalgar Square. Birkenhead Park inspired Central Park in New York, genuinely, and the Merseyrail gets you under the river in 10 minutes. That Central Park fact is my favourite pub quiz weapon, by the way. You're welcome. The honest bit. WIRRAL Waters is a 30-year job, and the retail core today is properly struggling. Buy near the money, the dockside wards around the East Float and the streets off Hamilton Square, not the tired shopping centre end. The catalyst? WIRRAL Waters plus priced-out Liverpool buyers. The window? Mid-boom rather than pre-boom, but there's plenty left in the tank. These are the towns that just got their railway back after 60 years. Ashington and BLYTH up in Northumberland. An average home here costs about £140,000, and in December 2024, the Northumberland line reopened for the first time since 1964. Ashington into Newcastle in about 35 minutes. If there's one lesson from every reopened railway and modern British history, it's this. Prices near new stations outrun their region every single time. The streets within walking distance of the new stops, and Newsham in Blythe especially, are the obvious place to look. Meanwhile, Blythe is turning into a clean energy hub. Offshore wind, batteries, port investment, the kind of skilled jobs this coast hasn't seen since the pits shut. My granddad's side were pit folk, so this one's a bit personal. Seeing these towns get a second wind genuinely made my week. The honest bit, decades of neglect don't vanish because a train turns up. The town centres are basic, and the wind off the North Sea is a personality test. The catalyst? A literal new railway plus energy jobs. The window? Station effects play out over 3 to 5 years, when you're inside it right now. Quick one while I've got you. If you're finding this useful, give it a like. It genuinely helps, and it costs you nah. Right, top 5 time, and still to come, the town where Hollywood is building one of the biggest film studios in Europe. And no, it's not where you think. Number 5. 2 Hollywood actors bought a football club and accidentally bought a whole town in the future. Wrexham. You know the story of Reynolds, McElhenney, the documentary, but here's what the Disney cameras don't linger on. The Wrexham Gateway project, around the station and the racecourse, has blown past £100 million, the biggest regeneration scheme in the city's history. Average prices sit around £180,000. New cop stand is due by early 2027. A new transport hub, a brewery quarter for the world's oldest lager still being brewed. The Mould Road corridor between the station and the ground is where every one of those pounds is landing, and the terraces around it are still priced like nothing's happening. I'll admit it, I went for the football and spent the whole weekend looking in estate agents' windows. occupational hazard. The honest bit. Fame isn't prosperity. Beyond the stadium quarter, Wrexham's still got deprived estates and an ordinary Welsh economy. If the club stops being a story, some shine goes with it. The catalyst? £100 million gateway finishing in 2027, plus the most famous football story on earth. The window? Before that cop stand opens. The idea of this video wasn't an accident. Number 4 might collapse entirely, and I've still ranked it 4th. Let me explain. Doncaster. The plan? South Yorkshire has approved up to £160 million to do something nobody in Britain's done before, reopening a dead airport. Forecasts say £6.6 billion in economic benefit and over 11,000 jobs, but the deal is not done. The lease talks have deadlines, costs have crept towards £200 million, and councillors have openly warned the money could run out. So why 4th? Because of what you're risking. Houses here average around £160,000 in a city on the East Coast Main Line, 90 minutes from London, with the Unity scheme and a restored corn exchange already delivered. If the airport lands, villages like Orkley and Finningley next to the runway boom overnight. If it doesn't, you still own a cheap house with a fast train. Heads you win, tails you don't lose much. And, Donnie, before you kick off in the comments, I know you've been messed about for years. That's exactly why the price is still this low. The catalyst? 160 million plus Unity. The window? The airport question resolves within a year. That uncertainty is exactly why prices haven't moved yet. Submarines. That's the whole story of this town. Let me explain why that one word makes Barrow-in-Furness the strangest boom town in Britain. The AUKUS defence deal means BAE's shipyard is hiring thousands upon thousands of engineers over the next decade, with a government-guaranteed order book stretching into the 2060s. Westminster's backed it with a £200 million transformation fund, and the whole town's centre is being redesigned around this new workforce. Now, the other half of the equation. An average house in Barrow costs about £140,000, and the leafy streets up in Harcourt, the best address in town, still go for less than a Manchester semi. Thousands of well-paid engineers arriving, a housing stock that can't possibly absorb them. You don't need a property guru to finish that sentence. When I first ran those numbers, I checked them twice. I assumed I'd made a mistake. I hadn't. The honest bit. Barrow is isolated, 90 minutes from the M6. The weather is biblical, and the deprivation is still in plain sight. It's a company town betting on one employer. It's just that the employer has a 40-year order book. The catalyst? AUKUS plus 200 million. The window? The hiring wave ramps to 2030. You're early. This one is the cheapest big city in Britain the year after its big moment, Bradford. This is the one my mates rib me about most. Bradford? Really? I've stopped arguing. Let them laugh. That's the whole point of this video. You'll pay around £160,000 for an average home in a city of over 500,000, 10 minutes from Leeds by train. Regular viewers know I've covered Bradford before, and not always kindly, but 2025 changed the conversation. City of Culture brought millions of visitors, and more importantly, the confidence for a proper pipeline. Bradford Live, the rebuilt centre around Darley Street Market, and long-term plans for a through station, the one thing that's held this city back for a century. The raw materials were always there. Little Germany is one of the finest Victorian quarters in the country, Saltaire is a UNESCO World Heritage Site on the doorstep, and Heaton's stone terraces in BD9 are half the price of their Leeds equivalents. The honest bit. Culture years fade fast. The station is a plan, not a promise, and the deprivation stats are still among England's worst. 5 to 10 year hold, not a flip. The catalyst, the City of Culture legacy, plus the Leeds price gap. The window, legacy money lands by 2028, while prices still say Old Bradford.
And number 1. The town where everything on this list is happening at once, Sunderland. I'll be honest, researching this one is the closest I've come to ringing a mortgage advisor myself. An average house here costs just shy of £145,000. Now, listen to what's underway on Wearside, because it's frankly ridiculous. Riverside, Sunderland is one of the largest urban regeneration projects in the UK, turning old industrial land into a whole new city centre neighbourhood. Footbridge open, buildings up, 600 more homes just agreed, a new eye hospital opening this year, £100 million high street redevelopment heading for approval. Nissan next door is building Britain's electric car future. Then the headline act, Crown Works Studios at Pallion, plans for one of the biggest film and TV studio complexes in Europe, with projections of thousands of creative jobs. If it delivers even half its ambition, it does for Sunderland what Media City did for Salford, and Salford prices doubled. The clever money is already looking at Ashbrook's Victorian villas and the seafront terraces at Roker, both a short hop from the studio site. The honest bit. Crown Works has had funding wobbles, delivery is phased over years, the city centre still visibly struggles, and the North East has broken hearts before. Number 1 is a bet on execution. But nowhere else in Britain has this many live catalysts stacked on prices this low. If you're going to follow the money anywhere before 2027, follow it here.
So there you have it, from Bootle's 11% surge to Sunderland's film studio moonshot. 10 towns Britain wrote off, where the money quietly disagrees. The obvious warning, and I do mean it, this is not financial advice. Projects slip, funding falls through, and a catalyst on a council slideshow is not a catalyst in the ground. Do your own research, walk the streets yourself, and never bet money you can't afford to park for a decade. But history keeps teaching the same lesson. The best time to buy into a town is when saying its name out loud still gets you laughed at. So tell me in the comments, which of these would you actually move to, and which rough town have I missed that's quietly turning the corner? I read every single one, and the best shouts end up in future videos. And if this was useful, hit like and subscribe. I do honest videos like this every week. I've already made the exact opposite of this one, by the way, the towns people regret moving to. It's on screen right now. Cheers for watching. I'll see you in the next one.